Welcome all to Make It Safe 2021, our 15th year. Where have those years gone? We're so glad to have you join us, and I know you're as excited as I am to dive into some of the hot topics so critical to our businesses and our people today. As we open the event, I'd like to acknowledge that we are grateful to be speaking with you from the unceded traditional territory of the Stolo people in the Coast Salish region of southwestern British Columbia. Our speakers and attendees will be connecting with us from territories and provinces across Canada and countries across the globe. Most of the next 2 days will be divided across 4 tracks with leadership insights for business owners and executives, practical advice and case studies for safety and human resource professionals, and 2 afternoon training sessions dedicated to safety committees and worker reps. Join me back here for the keynotes and tomorrow's opening and closing sessions. Please make time to visit and support our sponsor and exhibitor booths. These companies help make this event possible, and they have had some fantastic products and services on display. You can also connect with us and with each other through the conference platform on your computer or through the Make It Safe app. Join the conversation in the activity stream and in session chats. As we start the day, we've invited MLA Dan Coulter, Parliamentary Secretary for Accessibility, to share the story of the workplace injury that changed his life. A journey that is an incredible example of resilience, perseverance, adaptability, and leadership, and we're honored to have him here with us today. Before the election, Dan served the Alliance as a member of our board of directors, and I'm very pleased to welcome him to our virtual podium to open the conference.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate you having me, and thanks to the Alliance for having me as well. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that I'm on the traditional territory of Lekwungen speaking people, now known as the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations. So I guess I don't really get into real super detail about my accident, but I will today, because actually I think it's an important story, and it's a story that could make people just understand how important safety is. Although I know everyone on this call understands the importance of safety. I come from a working class background, and so when I left high school, I went to trade school and got a welding certificate, and then I got a job as a millwright in a sawmill, and I completed my apprenticeship. And not very long, probably like a lot of injured workers stories, because a lot of us are young workers, I was injured. So on that day, I really wasn't even supposed to be where I was. It was kind of interesting. I went down into the shop to grab a part, and the phone rang in the shop, and there was a machine broken up across the other side of the mill, and there was no one else to answer the call. So I went and I answered the call, and when I got there, there was a big chain off a sprocket, and it was out. I had to go out onto some beams to get to it. Now, we did have safety harnesses at the sawmill, but no one really used them at that time. And as a young worker, you usually just follow what the older workers are doing, what the people who came before you are doing. And so this is a big reason why a lot of young workers are injured, but I'm sure you all know that. And I was out on a 6-inch beam, steel beam, and I slipped and fell, and on my way down I hit another beam right across my back, and I use a wheelchair now. My spine kind of did one of these. It was really weird. I can remember it quite vividly, and I'm like I've said, I've never talked about this much before, about talked to people about this much before, but I feel like I can open up here. So I remember landing on the ground, and my face was turned towards the sky, and I remember the rain falling on my face, and I could hear the safety horns going off for the first aid person. And the first aid person came, and he was a very good friend of mine. And I could see they were straightening my legs, and I couldn't feel my legs. And so I was very concerned, obviously, and started asking my friend what that meant. And he said, "Oh, it just means you're in shock or whatever," because my legs were all curled up. And obviously that wasn't the case. He was just trying to be nice to me. But then they loaded me into an ambulance, and it didn't really, I worked in Surrey, and they took me to Royal Columbian Hospital, which is in New Westminster. It's about a half-hour drive for those of you who haven't lived in the Lower Mainland. And I didn't really feel pain until I got to the hospital, and the doctors there were a little less sensitive than my friend was. And they kind of pushed me up on my side, and they said, "Oh yeah, your back's broken. You're not going to walk again." Pretty quickly, because I had quite the large indentation in my back. And so I was just about 25 years old when that happened. It's a massive change in my life. I really didn't accept the change at first. I'll have to say that. I was a young person who had a job that was quite physical. All my hobbies were physical. I was really into hiking in the outdoors, and going and staying off in the woods for long periods of time, and really enjoyed the outdoors and doing that sort of stuff. And everything sort of changed. I still enjoy the outdoors, but in a different way. And I really didn't accept what had happened to me. And I thought that I could go back to doing physical type work. I even went to school to become a dairy farmer, which was a mistake. I know the moment that I decided not to be a dairy farmer anymore. We went to a UBC's training farm, University of British Columbia's training farm, and I had to insert a thermometer in a cow's rectum to check its temperature, and it pooped in my lap as I was sitting there in my wheelchair. And I thought, okay, now I'm not going to be a dairy farmer. This isn't my bag. But I was lucky enough to have the resources to be able to retrain. And so I ended up going to university for 4 years. And that's when I really found kind of my new niche, which was politics. I just loved politics so much. And so I joined a political party, and I volunteered as much as I could. And I thought, I'll just volunteer for the rest of my life at this. But then I started getting paid jobs in the political sphere, and now I'm elected. I put my name in last September, and I was elected. It's been just over a year, 4 days over a year. I was elected in October 24th to be the MLA of Chilliwack, which is where the MSABC is located, which is so nice. And so, that day when I was injured, if it weren't for that day, I likely wouldn't be an MLA right now. I'd likely still be doing still be working in the trades or in sawmills. And I think, I'm not saying the accident was good. I'm just saying it was different. It was such a huge break from my regular life, right? It was so different. Now, as the MLA for Chilliwack, I am, I'm honored I'm in Victoria today, and I'm honored to be able to go into the chamber and speak on behalf of the folks of Chilliwack. It's an immense honor. There's only 87 of us that get to go in this, 3-story high marble chamber with red floors, and a guy wearing a robe, and a big gold mace and things. So it's really a true honor to serve my community there, and is really amazing. And beyond that, the Premier of British Columbia was I have the honor that he appointed me as parliamentary secretary for accessibility, which gives me a lot of other work, but it also gives me some ways that I can advocate for people who have had accidents like my own, spinal cord injuries. And so I have two things in my mandate letter as parliamentary secretary. My first is to make sure that the new accessibility legislation we just passed this spring is effective and well understood. So I'm doing wide-scale consultations on the legislation. It was received royal assent in June, and it's going to be a transformative piece of legislation. We know that 25% of British Columbians identify as having a disability. And we know that really we're all just temporarily abled, so to speak. We're all going to age. And so this piece of legislation is going to be transformative for all British Columbians. It's going to be amazing. And my second part of my mandate letter is that I am going to be working on the building codes with the Attorney General and Minister responsible for housing. So I've started that work. We're right now working with the federal codes, as each province usually adopts the federal codes with some tweaks, but there's some standardization across Canada. I will say that I really enjoyed being on the board of MSABC, and I felt really welcome. I was only on the board for a year. It was completely during COVID time, so I didn't get a huge taste of the things that you excellent people do, but the services you provide to your members and the amazing, it's just so amazing to me to see a bunch of employers come together and really prioritize safety. And it's amazing the work that Lisa does to keep the whole thing going and it's amazing the passion that Lisa has for safety. And I was so proud to be on the board, felt so welcomed, and I'm so buoyed by the great work you're doing. And I got to give, I saw in the opening credits, there was a workshop on an effective young worker orientation. So I'll give it a shout out for that, being that I was a young worker when I was injured. And so I'd just like to once again thank you so much for having me, and thank you, Lisa. You are amazing, and this organization is amazing, and I hope that the Make It Safe conference is a real success. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Dan, for sharing your life-changing story with us. It is a powerful opening to remind us of the importance of health, safety, and well-being in our workplaces and communities. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. Thank you. As we move into our breakout sessions on the hot topics of the day, Dan's story is such an important reminder that the work we do has the potential to change lives and save lives. As we do move into our sessions that begin at 8:30, we'll dive right into the program. In the leadership track, we'll hear from a manufacturing CEO, Vince Scimana, and management and safety consultant, Danaji McDonald, in a session moderated by risk expert, Jillian Hamilton. The session is prepared, Managing Business Risk in the Next Normal. In the safety track, we will start the day with the leading U.S. ergonomist, Dr. Ram Michaela, in Unpredictable, How Staffing and Supply Chain Challenges Are Creating New Workplace Hazards and What to Do About It. And of course, in our people track, we'll plunge right into today and tomorrow's workplace with HR West Managing Director Kevin Williams and Senior Consultant Heather Johnson in Managing Safety and Performance in a Hybrid Work Environment. Our safety committee track sessions begin after today's keynote session this afternoon. Lots of exciting sessions planned. Thank you for joining us. Please enjoy the conference.